France. Throughout the ages, it has been an incredibly influential country, but despite its shining record, it has had a bloody past. After supporting America in our revolution, new ideas combined with a large national debt led the nation into one of the bloodiest revolutions of all time. During this revolution, France would be shook to the core. When the king and the queen fell in 1792 and 1793, a new regime rose. France had gained a new government, but the revolution was far from over. Facing opposition, the new government began what is known today as the Reign of Terror. Anyone suspected of opposing the new government was beheaded by the guillotine. As the war continued, a young general began to become increasingly well known in France. By the end of the revolution in 1799, Napoleon Bonaparte had declared himself King of France. Despite there being peace in France for now, Bonaparte would soon wage war on all of Europe.
A revolution always has many causes, and the French Revolution is no different. In the years prior to the Revolution, the French helped the American colonists in their fight for freedom. At this time, there was much contact between the French and the Americans, and revolutionary ideas spread between the groups. Aiding the Patriots almost pushed the French government into being bankrupt. The French were already heavily indebted due to King Louis XVI's extravagant spendings on luxuries such as Versailles and the expense of the 7 Years' War. King Louis tried to expel this debt by making very heavy taxes. Nobles and clergy were excluded from paying taxes. Thus, the tax burden was paid only by peasants and the business classes. The people paying the taxes often were cut off from positions of power. This caused a state of agitation among the common people. By paying such heavy taxes, they could barely afford bread. Due to food shortages in the 1780s, prices for bread were very high and food was scarce. Bad conditions in the countryside caused rural residents to move into Paris, causing the city to be overpopulated with dirty, hungry people filled with ideas of the Enlightenment writers. All these things combined led up to the French Revolution.
Think of it, soldiers. From the summit of these pyramids, 40 centuries look down upon you. Speech before the Battle of the Pyramids, July 21st, 1798. You can see that Brennan's opinion is negative towards the French's lower class taking over, showing that they are mass murderers killing very important people in the French society, and they're represented as hobos. Any law which violates the inalienable rights of man is essentially unjust and tyrannical. It is not a law at all. An institution which does not suppose the people good, and the magistrate corruptible, is evil. Maximilian Robespierre, April 24th, 1793. The French Revolution was one of many revolutions that was a failure. Napoleon crowned himself ruler and decided that world domination was a good idea, which is not. The French Revolution, I believe, was an all-around chaos, mixed in with an economic depression and other bad things that can happen to a country. After the American Revolution, France had been under troubles of a bad economy and sickness, thus probably causing the revolution because they thought if the 13 colonies could do it, then why couldn't they? Madam, if a thing is possible, consider it done. The impossible, that will be done. Charles Alexandre de Calonne.
Many consider the French Revolution to be a major part leading to the end of monarchy and the rise of democracy. The fall of monarchy was followed soon by the fall of feudalism, and the fall of feudalism brought with it the rise of individualism and egalitarianism. Some believe the French Revolution slowed down the advance of capitalism, and with so much land being taken from the church and the French nobles, many peasants soon became land proprietors. This would allow peasants to have more say in the government. Unfortunately, this did not last. The most modern of the French governments, the Directory, fell on November 9th, 1799. On that day, the famous general Napoleon Bonaparte, now called Napoleon I, Emperor of the French, overthrew the Directory. With the rise of Bonaparte, liberty was lost to the French. As Bonaparte said, "Liberty is a necessity felt only by a not very numerous class. It can therefore be restricted with impunity." Equality, on the other hand, pleases the multitude. With Napoleon taking control of France, the powers of Europe were threatened. The effects of this revolution would soon cause war throughout Europe, a war whose effects would be felt for years to come.